Hello everybody! The goal of this course is to reach a whole perspective of the work inspection we must run in a construction process in order to get the quality in building. That's the content, but today's topic is going to be focused in the reinforced floor structures. I would like to show you the main activities we must check during the construction of this unit through a short videos. Let's see. When we start making the floor structures, we need first to fix the formwork auxiliary structure that will help to us to hold all the pieces and the concrete mass. Here you can see in the video how the workers are fixing these concrete coffers up to the formwork, following the chalk marks we have in the bottom of the wooden pieces. The objective using these coffers is to reduce the global quantity, the global amount of concrete we will use in the future when we have a heavy or high distance in our floor. This is very useful, and I think so it's a nice idea when you use these concrete coffers that could be used with polystyrene, ceramic tiles or other materials, because finally you reduce the mass, you create a hole inside the structure at the time you have an area where you can pass, or you can always hold the future reinforcement that we will be situated in the line between of the concrete coffers. In some cases, what we fix is not directly the concrete coffers, it's not just directly the prefabricated beams when they are resistant ones. Once more, the beam, the reinforced concrete beam, comes to the work, and the workers just use these simple tools, wooden pieces, in order to keep the prefabricated beams in a parallel position. That's the other system. The size of the wooden tool is marking exactly the size of the concrete coffers. So it's very useful because in the future, after to fix all the concrete prefabricated beams, we will be able to fix inside the concrete coffers, ceramic coffers, in general the floor tiles we are going to use in this project. After to fix these prefabricated pieces, it's time to start with the reinforcement. The reinforcement will arrive to our work in a different ways. That's the way where we can find the cases. Cases are made in a factory and came directly to our work. But we need always to match the cases with the rebars, just tie all the bars that are going to conforming the global reinforcement, and also we need to tie to match the connection between the floor reinforcement with the anchor bolts coming from the columns, supports and other elements that are connecting and passing through our slab of floor. One detail I would like to emphasize here in this video is that the idea of the floor connection. We have one direction floor because all the prefabricated pieces and the beams are in one main direction. We have the main beams and the secondary beams. So it is the kind of floor we used to call one directional floor. After the reinforcement, we can do also the beams on site. We use these small anchors, these small bars, which has an omega shape that will be very useful in future when we will fix the straight bars. The bars will be holding up to these small pieces, and we can configure the beam on site and join the beam with the prefabricated cases that are coming from the factory, as you can see in the picture. That's another example of one directional floor structure. After that, we should think about, in some cases, the floor structure has different shapes, different design. Here you can see a slab. This is the same concept but without any coffer to reduce the final mass of the concrete. We have two directions reinforcement. We have the bars creating a net in both directions. Mind the position of the spacers. This is a prefabricated spacers. Could be PVC, could be reinforcement, depending on the design and the place where we are building. The standards we will fix our minimum and the characteristics of these spaces, but in all cases we have to fix all the bars. This floor is created on site. It has not any case. The casing are not made in the factory, are built on the place, and the workers are tying and you can see the detail of how they are fixing and tying and matching all the bars between each other. After that, we can see also how they can fix it and just how they support, because if we don't tie it well, if we don't show it very carefully, we can have the bars during the concrete process in a bad situation. It has to be correctly fixed, because if not, then when the concrete will be in the pouring time, they can move the bars. So finally the distribution, the situation and the position of our rebars will not right. So check this and be careful if all the bars are correctly fixed between each other. That's the detail how the machine are fixing it up, are tying it and making the final disposition. So it's a very automatical process where you can fix it and just be sure you are tying, you are showing all the rebars between each other. After that, you will be sure in the pouring concrete you will have not any problem. Concrete test is the time to check and make the assessment of our concrete. We cannot use the concrete directly when they came from our truck. You have to test it first and just think about the result before to let the concrete coming in your floor structure. In the concrete test, we should fill it up with the standard size, with the standard measurement, the characteristics of the concrete, consistency and resistance. You must follow the specification from the standard directive, and right here you can see how it is filling it up. This cone has special measurement. We should fill it up with the concrete, and then after to fill it up in the global, in the whole size and fix it with the bar, is the time to stand it up and just move the cone to know how the consistency is in our concrete. In parallel, you can fix the size of the cone. You can use the same bar. You use it for the capacity, and right now you can make the measurement. Depending on the standard in each country, you will have the result about a very dry moisturizing concrete or a very liquid moisturizing concrete. Depending on the specifications of your project, you will allow or you will reject the concrete before it's pouring. When we are thinking about the test of the resistance, we need to check the concrete in the right place where it is gonna be. If you do it directly with the framing, you can take it directly, but if you are doing after a pumping system, you have to take the concrete from this point, because after pumping the concrete could be disaggregate and you can alter it, you can change the final property of the concrete. One more, you have to use these test tubes, which has a very standard, a very high remark size, and fill it up with the concrete you are going to use or you want to use in your work site. Fill it up completely, just mix the concrete with this bar and then cover it until to top. After that, you have to check if everything, all the test tubes are well fixed, well filled up, and of course, we have to identify this. It's mandatory not to move the test tubes from the work site in 48 hours, because if not, the final properties could be changed. It's very useful to put on a wet clothing or something that let to the mass have a small breathing at the time it is a little bit wet and keeps the moisturizing. Then we should identify where its concrete is situated in our work, first, second, which level of our flooring are built with this concrete, and finally we use this plastic to keep it in the work until the movement to the translation to the laboratory to make the first result. If everything is okay, everything is run, is okay, it's time to pouring. When we pour the concrete in the floor, we should think about the position, the maximum height, and think about the maximum size of our aggregates in case you are gonna pump the concrete. At the time you pouring the concrete, you need also to vibrate in order to be sure all the mass will be reaching the top of the surface and all your flooring will be completely well expanded. pouring and vibrating at the same time when the floor has a lot of reinforcement. In case of high density of bars or rebars, the reinforcement will be a kind of obstacle in our concreting and our pouring, and we need to keep it in a very careful way. So vibration is going to be very relevant. When you finish the vibration, you are in time to make the spreading. Spreading is necessary to cover all the surface and to create a very closing area in the surface, because if not, you will have a small holes in the area where the crash will appear in the future and where the mass will reduce its final moisturizing. If everything is fine, everything is okay, it's time to take out the formworks, remove and strip the forms. Follow the specifications, be careful with its movement, and just enjoy your final result with a very good quality floor. Thank you very much for your attention.